On a 1944 European battlefield, survival relied on the mastery of the fog. When visibility drops, the side controlling the illusion controls the ground. This was the domain of the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops. Known as the Ghost Army, they were comprised of artists, set designers, and sound engineers. They operated a traveling roadshow of deception, deploying inflatable dummy tanks and using sound trucks to project the audio of armored divisions. While these artists constructed theatrical decoys in the open, separate units were buried in the research that produced the atomic bomb. These layers of tactical and strategic secrecy meant that even the men serving often lacked a full picture of the mission. This silence created a gap in the public record. In that space, misunderstood science and unexplained accidents were often reframed as supernatural events. In 1943, the Philadelphia Naval Yard was a restricted hub for naval defense research. Rumors from this yard alleged that the destroyer USS Eldridge had used top-secret technology to turn invisible before teleporting to a second shipyard in Virginia. The actual technology on board the Eldridge was a process called degaussing. Degaussing uses electrical cables to scramble a ship's magnetic signature. This prevents magnetic U-boat torpedoes from locking onto the hull, effectively making the ship invisible to a specific type of underwater mine. During severe electrical storms, high-voltage testing can trigger St. Elmo's fire, a greenish plasma glow on the ship's masts. To observers on the coast, a glowing ship disappearing into the inland canals toward Virginia provided the visual cues for a teleportation story. Without an understanding of magnetic signatures or electrical plasma, the civilian mind used the language of science fiction to explain the Navy's movements. Daily anti-submarine patrols off the U.S. coast were often hours of monotonous flight over empty water. In 1942, the L-8 Blimp drifted back to Daly City, California, and crashed into a residential street. The aircraft was intact, but the two pilots were gone. 3 years later, 5 TBM Avenger bombers, known as Flight 19, vanished off the coast of Florida. This Navy report investigated the loss of the squadron and its 14 crewmen. The data in the report shows winds at 6,000 feet reaching 50 knots. These conditions, combined with a malfunctioning compass, lead to spatial disorientation over the open ocean. The Navy never recovered the wreckage or the bodies from the Atlantic. This lack of physical evidence prevented a sense of closure for the families and the public. Decades later, these separate incidents were grouped into a single geographical zone called the Bermuda Triangle, providing a label for a wide range of unrelated tragedies. A paranormal villain is a specific target for the public's imagination, whereas human error and severe weather are difficult to accept as the sole causes of such total loss. After the war, civilians began to monetize the information gaps left by military declassification. Mundane events were reframed for the headlines. When anti-aircraft guns fired 1,430 rounds at a stray weather balloon over Los Angeles in 1942, the media described a raid by strange, unidentified planes. Authors and hoaxers like Carl Allen began manufacturing evidence to connect these disparate events to a broader extraterrestrial narrative. They produced forged government memos, like these documents attributed to George Marshall, to provide a sense of official legitimacy to claims of reverse-engineered technology. These forgeries recontextualized legitimate missions. The Operation High Jump mapping expedition to Antarctica was rewritten as an investigation into hidden Nazi UFO bases, using the language of official bureaucracy. The myth becomes a permanent fixture of pop culture once it is supported by fabricated proof, effectively replacing the recorded history with a more sensational narrative. These World War II legends now populate blockbuster movies and internet forums as established lore. This focus on the paranormal often leaves the actual military history of the era unexamined. The recorded reality contains its own marvels: the physics of magnetic degaussing, the risks taken by patrol pilots, and the ingenuity of artists building a ghost army to mislead the Axis powers. These enduring stories serve to place a fantastical mask over the mechanics of modern warfare, where the reality is often more human and more chaotic than any legend suggests.